This recipe begins with cooking some bratwurst. These are the kind of brats that you buy in the store that are raw, and you have to cook them. Usually, I like to put a little bit of water in these and boil them to get the insides done and then fry them up after. But because I'm cooking in my crock pot today, I'm going to just brown these up so they have a light brown around the outside. The inside, it's okay if it's not fully cooked. And then I'll put them in the crock pot along with my other ingredients. So come with me and I'll show you the rest of the ingredients. The ingredients that you'll need today to go along with this crockpot recipe are some potatoes. I've chosen Yukon Gold because I don't have to peel them, and they're delicious Idaho potatoes. I'll cut them up in cubes. A chopped onion, some sauerkraut. This is a large jar. It's 32 ounces of sauerkraut, and I will add the whole jar because I'm making a big batch with 10 bratwursts. And then you need a little bit of brown sugar, just enough to sweeten. You don't want the dish very sweet, but the brown sugar adds to the caramelization and the taste. The sauerkraut and the brown sugar kind of work together to make a delicious sauce. The juice is in the sauerkraut for the dish, and it's really delicious. There's one ingredient that the original recipe calls for that I haven't added, is an apple. You can add an apple if you like. I didn't want to add an apple to mine and give it that sweeter flavor. I choose to just stick with the potatoes, but if you would like, you could add an apple or two, probably two to this size of a recipe because I'm making a double batch. I don't remember where this original recipe came from. I've been making it for years, and it's my favorite dish to make in the crock pot. My entire family likes this, and it's just a win-win. So if you love sauerkraut and you love brats and potatoes and onion, you should give this a try. I'm going to chop these up and then we'll mix it all together. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, we're ready to add everything together. I've put my potatoes in the crock pot along with the onion, or most of the onion. Let me add this. Then we want to add the brown sugar. It really doesn't make any difference what order you put the ingredients in. And then I have the sauerkraut. I'm recording this one-handed, so I'm not sure if this will come out of the jar. We'll try it. I was afraid it might be too tightly packed. So let me take some out first. Let me get some out and we'll put it in the crock pot. Then I'll try to get it out with one hand. I just love sauerkraut. It's one of my favorite things, especially this time of year. I do make this dish year-round, but this time of year it's just extra special good. Let me pause for a second and get this out. Okay, sorry about that. I try to do everything as easy as I can. It seems like sometimes I make things harder for myself. I've put the sauerkraut in, and now I'm nestling the bratwurst on top. This is how done we want the brats to be. You can see that part of it is raw, that it's raw in the middle still. But the browning on the outside just makes it so it's more pleasing to eat. These would cook in the crock pot just raw, but I like to brown them. Browning gives meat flavor. If you brown your meat before you put it in the crock pot, you'll have a better flavor for your entire dish, no matter what the meat is. Sometimes I brown my meat, sometimes I don't. But browning the meat certainly gives flavor to your dish. Okay, now I haven't stirred this up or anything. I'm just going to let it cook down a little bit because it's really full. And then when it cooks down a little bit, I'll come and I'll go ahead and try to stir it up a bit. I'm going to turn the crock pot on high. It's afternoon. It's probably about 1 o'clock right now. So I'm going to turn it on high for 4 hours. And this should be ready in time for dinner. So in about 4 hours, I'm going to come back in a couple hours and stir. And then I'll come back. I'll bring you back and show you. And then I'll come back in 4 hours and it should be finished for dinner. And it's just delicious. So I hope you'll come back and have some dinner with us. I wish you all could. Okay, it's been 2 hours since we started this and it smells so good. Sauerkraut, onion, potatoes, sausage, yummy. Smells really good. I'm going to give this a stir now. Try to do this one-handed. I have a tripod I could set up, but I'm using it for a different project. So I don't really want to move it around too much. I've got it set up just perfect for my other project. This is cooking nicely. The juice in the bottom. When I first began, I didn't put any liquid at all in, except for the liquid from the sauerkraut, but as you notice, there's still quite a bit of liquid in there. So if you think you need to add some chicken broth or something to start with, you don't need to. You don't want this to be soupy. You want it to be like a casserole. The thing that I am going to add now that I didn't add before is some salt and pepper. Everything needs to be seasoned with salt and pepper, in my opinion. Some people leave it out, but I like things seasoned. I think salt gives raw foods a better flavor, especially meats, and pepper makes things taste better. We like things that have flavor though. My husband and I like things that are zingy, zippy, and flavorful. So anyway, let me see if these potatoes are getting softer. Let me see if I can get one up against the side. Oh, they're not ready yet. They're still firm. So we're going to put the lid on this, let it cook for a couple more hours, then we'll come back and check it again. So I just wanted to give you an update on it. Doesn't that look delicious? It's going to be so good. I'm excited for dinner. So we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, it's been 4 hours total. Our food is ready to eat. It's the potatoes are tender. See the steam coming off of it is so delicious. Let me put a little bit in a container for you, or in a bowl, and we'll give this a try. This sauerkraut is so good, and the potatoes are the perfect accompaniment. Look how beautiful that looks. Yummy. Yummy. This is one of my favorite meals to eat. I just love sauerkraut, and you get a small potato. It's going to be hot with some of that delicious sauerkraut. A little bit of brown sugar gives it just the right amount of sweetness and flavor. It's just so good. You could add an apple to this too if you like. I like it just with just the potatoes and the sauerkraut. Let me take a bite. It's going to be really hot. So good. So good. meat. If I can get a picture. It's perfectly cooked. Just right. Cooked all the way through. Delicious. So yummy. So if you like, the brats are delicious. If you like sauerkraut, brats, and potatoes, I hope you'll give this a try because it truly is really, really, really good. And I hope you enjoy. Leave me comments. And I will come back next Wednesday with another Whip It Up Wednesday. See y'all later. Okay, I just have a couple of comments I want to make after eating more of the brat and sauerkraut potato dish. It wasn't quite as sweet as I would have liked it. I only added 1/4 cup of brown sugar. If I make it again, I will add 1/2 cup. I did just go ahead and add a little bit more to it after it had cooked because it's so hot that it just dissolved that sugar. So you can do it according to taste, but if it's not sweet enough for you, go ahead and add just a little bit more. And the other thing, I would you may be tempted to cut up your bratwurst and cook it that way in the casserole, but I would leave it whole if I were you because it makes it so it stays really juicy and it doesn't get dried out. And then cut it up afterwards if you like, but I would leave them whole while they're cooking. Those were my 2 extra thoughts that I had. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. I thought it was really delicious, but just needed just a little bit more sugar. So anyway, we'll see you later.